Yo, you already know what time it is. We're super late, but I do promise I will be uploading more videos regularly in September. But today we will discuss about post-archive faction. As you guys may know, analysis type of videos is really not my type of beat, but as there are quite little information about the brand itself, thought of, I guess, reviewing it very shortly. Now, for those who've been following my IG would have known that I've been quite supportive of the brand since day one, from their 1.0 collection days back in 2018. And since then I did introduce the brand to some stockists in Japan. But going back to the story of the brand itself, TREFF is a Korean brand run by two people. It is still an independent business, very quite of a small business itself. But the two people who runs the brand, they do like to remain a low profile, so I'll quite refrain from revealing who they are. But what I can say is that they are quite talented people, very hardworking people. Every time I meet with them, I'm always surprised how they grow as a person as well as the brand itself. But moving on to the brand name itself, so let me clarify. Some people pronounce or know it as post-archive fashion, but that is not it. The correct name is post-archive faction, meaning the kind of the group faction. So if you read the brand description in their website, I thought it's a little bit confusing, but to summarize it, basically the brand ethos is basically to research and develop the structural part of the clothes, while I guess getting inspirations from many like architectures, multimedia arts, as well as just the nature itself. But I think that would be the brand's, I guess, the ethos itself. So also another part is some people do like to label the brand as a little bit more tech wear, but I think that's kind of the wrong definition. I also saw some presses label it as like avant-garde tech wear, which is also kind of weird for me. But I think, in my perspective, I do believe because of the brand ethos, as well as when I look at their designs, they do focus more on the structural part of the clothing first, meaning I think they like to dismantle the clothes first and then add maybe some technical parts with the according to the designs. So I do think the structural part does come more to the brand identity. Second, another cool concept that another cool language that they speak in terms of design is kind of like they categorize their designs into three parts. They label it into three parts, basically left, center, and right. So basically it's like when we normally call something right, it's a little bit, it refers to a little bit more conservative point of views, while the left is always a little bit more radical and revolutionary point of view. So speaking that in a design term, I do the left would mean it's a little bit more experimental designs, and as it goes to the right, it's a little bit more of the daily, everyday kind of wears. For that, so the center is kind of the bridging between the two. But the interesting part they do is that if you look at closely from their designs from 1.0 to 3.1 right now, there are quite similar designs that they kind of, I guess, tweaked a little bit, but the labeling is different. So I think what they're trying to tell us is that basically when they come up with this design and label it as left, we may see it as very fresh or experimental when we first see the design, but as time passes and as we get used to the design, obviously I think it gradually moves to the right side of the spectrum. So once it was left, but now it will change to center, and then once we get really used to it, it will be labeled as right. So I thought that was a really kind of fun way to, I guess, categorize the clothes, and for them to, I guess, constantly train the brains of the consumers, I would say, to change their perception, is something that I can respect. So yeah, so like for example, like the jacket that I'm wearing right now, it's categorized as actually right, because actually if you look at the 2.0 design, they had a very similar one, but that one was actually categorized as center. But now because they showed this design before, I think now they're categorizing as right. And actually it does quite fit well, because the 2.0, I think it kind of lacked kind of like pockets, and like it was quite uncomfortable. But now they added like those little details so that we can actually wear it on our daily basis. And actually I do wear this jacket quite freely, I would say. Like I don't really need to think about it a lot, so whenever I go to a cafe, like I'll just throw this jacket on and go. So it did become a part of my daily life clothes rotation itself. But yeah, beautiful colors. But I will show a little bit more of the pieces itself later on in the video. So but lastly, what is next for post-archive faction? I think in a relatively short amount of time, from 2018, I think the brand grew quite fast, and they did actually, what do I say? They kind of, when you look at something, I think you can immediately tell if it's from post-archive faction or not, because of their kind of the color choices they use, kind of like the design structures they use. So I think within the short period of time, they kind of made a statement, kind of like, oh, this is kind of like our mood, this is kind of like our design language. So which is a really important thing for new brands to have. If you look at similar peers, I would say, among the Korean brand in the same generations, there would be Hainsa, but there will also be, I think the most notable one would be Kanghyuk, who's famous for using the recycled airbag materials. Kanghyuk not recently, but from last year, they've been working closely with Reebok, and now they had a little bit more of the general release of the Reebok sneakers. And obviously, I think having a sneaker collab helps push the brand to a next level. I think I would assume that PAF would be in discussion with some of the brands. I'm not really sure what, but obviously as a small business, it is always, when they always push themselves to the next level, it's always good to have a kind of a big statement collaboration. So whether it's sneakers, whether it's a different brand, I'm not really sure at the moment, but I think PAF has only started to scratch the surface of their potential. So I'm really looking forward to what kind of exciting collections they have, and if there are things that they need to improve on, of course, I think they're always open to hear ideas, feedbacks as well. But enough of this talk. Let's go see the vlogs. Hi guys, what's up? It's Giz.
And I'm Daniel.
We're heading to
TREFF shop.
TREFF shop.
Yeah.
So it's in Hongdae. It's in a district called Hongdae. It's kind of like a, how do you describe Hongdae?
Hongdae is kind of like it's the fuckboy district.
Fuckboy district?
It's kind of like where all the clubs are. A lot of young people. A lot of like you know, like in Korea where there was like the the kid Millie and like the
so like
Millie style. A lot of people are kind of like that.
So that's the Hongdae. So in Korea, actually, let's talk about like the different styles of Korea, I would say, because not a lot of people are I think, is not as known as compared to Japan, I would say.
Yeah.
So like for me, when I look at Korea, I think it's mainly, if I categorize into 4 categories, I would say first, the biggest ones would be the G-Dragon group here, who kind of like worship his style and kind of dress like him. And then there's the Dindemili style, where it's more like, I don't know, a mixture of grunge and like, I'll show you a photo.
Yeah,
well,
like...
my friend Boy was in charge of both stylings, but it was a good styling though. So that's the Dindemili, and they're mostly in Hongdae, I would say. And then the last one would be also the Hyogo. The Hyogo styles.
Yeah, with the jeans,
they're a little bit
like
more, more like vintage, and there's also like more avant-garde-ish things, mixture of both. And then there's the rest called what we call a namchin look.
Namchin look, that's the big thing. That's the
biggest. That means like
the slacks. You wear the slacks.
The boyfriend look. So, do you think I categorize it correctly, or do you think
I think you're right. I think you're right. It's a pretty good description.
It's not a diss, but that's basically the thing. So
yeah, the categories are really distinct, I think, in Korea.
I think overall, do you think Korean people dress well?
I think so. I think they match the standard very well. They match the standard, but they don't do that much to push the standard. Like most people are not interested in enough to push, like, you know, the standard and try to like specialize in what they wanted, in what they like. They kind of, a lot of people just try to fit a certain aesthetic, and that's kind of, once they reach it, they're like, oh, you know, I'm good at, like, it's good enough.
It's true. Like I think we do have a sense of belonging, that we do need to belong in some sort of group kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to stray too far outside of it, because then people will look at you weird. So I think overall, I think there's a lot of people who dress good, who knows a lot about clothes, who has and then another distinctive part would be they like, we like, Koreans like to have the best shits, you know what I mean? Like if it's a Jordan, they need to have like the fragments, or like those expensive ones, and if it's a clothes, they need to have like the rarest ones. So it's more about like showing off pieces.
Yeah, it's definitely because I think the hypebeast kind of thing works well kind of in Korea, because Korea was so poor.
Yeah, like,
and they kind of got rich really quickly, right? So they like developed so quickly. So the idea of like presentation is very important, I think. Just like showing off that you're rich, or showing off that you own the latest things.
I agree.
It's very, very important.
I agree. It does. Like I do think like those economic factors did have a part, because we had a rapid growth in the economy, and because of that, it's all about like competition, like who has the best things, and like who has a better car, who lives in a better place. It's more like people compete with that. So but it's a good thing and a bad thing. Yeah. After you.
Okay.
Oh, they did a whole renovations. Nice.
Oh yeah.
My G.
Oh, the cat.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is a good hoodie. This is a good daily hoodie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the fit is nice.
The interesting part is like, do you remember the 2.01?
Yeah.
So that one was labeled as center, but this one's labeled as right.
Oh, now this is normal now.
Now this is normal, exactly. Yeah.
You shoot portrait or landscape?
Huh?
Do you usually go landscape?
Yeah. The black one's sexy.
I think it looks good with the outfit.
It does.
Because the material is different from the pants.
The black one is definitely a little bit more. It has like a little bit more of a Korean vibe, I would say.
Yeah.
I like this vibe. Like, maybe I should get the black one as well. It's actually sexy.
Kind of nice.
I think these go hard.
Yeah, these ones. This is the technical.
Yeah, these go hard. What size is this? Can you check for me, please?
This
I'll try this one now.
medium.
It's a medium.
I think they have small size now. Right?
They do. This is a large. This is a. Oh, this is a small. So I'll actually compare the two. I'll compare the sizing for two, and there should be a matching jacket for that one.
The jacket is hard.
Right? Did you see the jacket?
They don't have it.
Oh, maybe they already sold out of the jacket. Maybe. Construction is very interesting with these extra layer panels. Detailing on the back. And you can like snap these so that you can make it into shape. One was actually like
Too small.
I think it would have become too cropped because it's actually for ladies.
Hard.
But the medium one, this one goes hard. Like,
The price is good too, right?
I think so.
This is the. I think this is like.
I think this is. Interesting. It looks much interesting when worn actually.
Especially
Yeah.
like when you. Like,
Yeah, because it's very like
opens up.
architecture.
It is
vibe,
very
right?
pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
Expanding.
Interesting. Is this left? This must be left.
This
This is center?
center.
This is center. Okay. Interesting.
I don't think the left ones are. Left one is like the seamed one.
Ah.
Seam one.
Okay.
Seam. I don't know if that one's
Gotcha.
here though.
Oh. So these ones are actually the ones that's a little twisted actually from the 3.0 ones. The one that had a little bit more structure shape. I think they reversed the kneecap part. I'm actually really curious how that would look when I wear it. So stay tuned. The color looks very futuristic, which is what I like. It sounds like
Yeah.
that flare bottom.
Yeah.
So,
It looks better from the back, I think.
oh really?
Yeah, it looks very cool from the back. Even though you don't see the detail from the back.
And I like that little bit of gray here that matches with my t-shirt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I like it. I like the side. When you go on the side, it's like it becomes like all, like it doesn't point out.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna point out, but it like folds in itself, right?
Interesting. They have like this guarding here. That catch this detail.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Down jacket is so nice, so puffy. Very puffy and sexy. I'm gonna try this one out actually. Okay, wait a minute. The jacket is super nice. They definitely improved on quality this time. Feels like I might be invincible in the winter. In the back. Very nice, sexy black. So this is in the other color. Looks a little bit whitish on the camera, but it's actually like kind of like a pale gray, kind of like the tone that you normally see from Post Archive Faction. Oh no, it's I feel very warm like in this. I like this one. I think maybe I like this colorway more than the black one, but both is actually really fire. Because in the Korea, like winter is so cold, so. Boom. It's crossed now. Let's head home. Boom. So I just wanted to show you guys the reviews of Post Archive Faction and the shop, TREFF shop. Shout outs to the shop. I think this shop definitely has a unique, selective choices compared to other major select shops, I would say. They're quite tight with a lot of Korean rappers, so occasionally they do hold kind of like a wardrobe sale. Especially I think there was some left from Kid Millie. So interesting shop. Definitely, if you guys come out to visit Seoul, hit them, go have a look at them. Especially they do carry one of the biggest stocks of Post Archive Faction, so good shop. Peace. Thank you for hanging around with me today.
Thank you.
See you again.